Hi you guys, this is a help video for the Aleks assignment that's called Applying Linear Functions. I need you to follow along with all three of these examples, and for each example I am also going to give you a letter of the password for the Aleks assignment. So you need to follow along so that you can get the password so that you can start the assignment. Here we go. LaShonda has been withdrawing the same amount of money from her bank account every month. The table below shows the amount of money in her account after different amounts of time. Questions are, how much money was in her bank account before she started withdrawing money? Okay, so that means we want to know how much money she had at time 0. And then we also want to know what the rate of change is in dollars per month. Okay, so let's start with finding that rate of change in dollars per month, because I think that will also help us be able to find out how much money she had at time 0. So I'm going to grab 2 points from the table and I'm going to calculate the rate of change by using the slope formula. Okay, so remember, rate of change is really just finding slope. So we want to know how much her bank account is changing every 1 month, right? Dollars per month. That is for question B. So if I do 500 minus 590 over 8 minus 6, I get negative 90 over 2, which means that every 2 months she is withdrawing $90. So every 1 month she is withdrawing 45, right? So every time a month increases in time, her account is going to have $45 less. Now we are going to use that information to help us figure out how much money was in her account at time 0. So you can see that this is going down 90 every time, and this is going up every time, right? And we already figured that out. We know that she's withdrawing $90 every 2 months. So let's go ahead and count backwards in our chart, using the information that we have until we can get to time 0. Now this is counting by 2s, so I'm going to also count by 2s. Okay, so at 4 months she would have 590 plus 90, which is 680. At 2 months she would have 680 plus 90, which is 770, and then at time 0, she would have 770 plus 90, and that would be $860. Okay, so at time 0, that is when she first started withdrawing money. Okay, so her starting amount in her account was $860. And then when we're picking which one we need to choose, we're only going to choose one of these. Okay, so it says choose the one that describes how the time and amount of money in her account are related. So when we look at this, we know that as time increases, the amount of money in her account decreases. So we're going to pick this one, which means we're not also going to pick this one. Okay, and then we already calculated this next part. At what rate is the money in her account decreasing? And we're going to say $45 per every 1 month, right? It was decreasing $90 for 2, which meant 45 for 1, and now we're done. Okay, the first letter of your password is F. Okay, next question. A boat is traveling through the water. The graph below shows the relationship between D, distance in kilometers, and the time T in hours the boat has traveled. Write an equation to represent the relationship between D and T. Okay, so you need to remember that Y is the distance and X is the time in hours, but in this case we're supposed to use D for the distance and T for the time in hours. So if you look at this graph, you can see that as 1 hour of time increases, that the distance is going up 50, right? So for every 1 hour in time, the boat has traveled 50 kilometers further. So the way that we write our relationship is the distance is dependent on the time, right? And every 1 hour, the boat is traveling another 50 kilometers. So this would be your equation, and then we would want to pick the boat is traveling 50 kilometers per 1 hour. Okay, next letter for your password is U. Okay, and then let's go ahead and just do one more example, and then I think you'll be ready to do your Aleks assignment. Dion is riding a gondola from the lodge to the top of the ski area. The graph below shows the linear relationship between time x, since the gondola left the lodge, and altitude y in meters of the gondola. Write an equation to represent the linear relationship between x and y. So whenever we're going to write a linear equation, we use this slope-intercept form. Remember, the b, that is your y-intercept. That is your initial value. That's your starting point. That's our b, okay? So that means the gondola started at an altitude of 1,000, and then every time we go to the right one, that's an increase of 1 minute, right? So if we draw in our slope triangle here, that means we're going up 500 every 1 minute, up 500 every 1 minute. That's our slope. So 500 meters increase in altitude per every minute, and now we have an equation. Okay, so your password for your Aleks assignment is fun. Okay, go ahead and do your Aleks assignment. Let me know if you have any questions.